This VELCO weather hazards outlook is valid the rest of today, Sunday, through next Saturday, December the 3rd. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, 802 Honda, all located off of exit 7 on Interstate 89. Looking at current snow depths across the lower 48 United States into portions of southern Canada, and what you can see here is still some leftover snow, but it's going to be going fast, and probably by midweek we're going to see a lot of it here in the Northeast go away, except for the higher elevations. Out west, this is where the main action's been. The Sierra Nevada and even the Southern California mountains have seen some decent snowfall. Just kind of looking at areas around the San Jacinto Range, up into the San Bernardinos, the San Gabriels, and then of course up the spine of the Sierra. This is starting with the west of the Tehachapis and continuing northern Ventura County up into the higher Sierra. And the areas that have been receiving the most snow have been kind of north and west of Lake Tahoe, north of Interstate 80, famed Donner Pass. And then, of course, even further up the chain of the Cascades and over into some parts of the Rockies. You can see snow depths here are in the lighter purples. They're over, well, up around 60 inches. On this Sunday morning about 10:30, we've seen a little bit of lighter snow shower activity across parts of New Hampshire. That's exiting with this developed coastal low headed toward the Canadian Maritimes. A ridge of higher pressure will be pushing into the region. It'll make actually for a pretty decent rest of today. There could be a couple light snow showers here and there near the mountains, but really not a whole lot of action going on. And this ridge of higher pressure will push in for what will be the pick of the week. That starts early and quickly. That'll happen on Monday. And our weather has been rather polite and benign, really, so far for most of this November. We're looking at, of course, last week was the heavy hitters, but now we're back into decent project weather starting tomorrow, Monday. Low utility impacts this week, though, with two warmer, rainy episodes. This will create localized rich top gradient winds on Tuesday, and again, it looks like late overnight Wednesday night or early Thursday morning into the day on Thursday. Potential for some low-impact mixed precipitation types, likely just a travel issue on Thursday morning to be monitored. And, of course, we have moderating temperatures mid to late week. Colder temperatures at the end of the week move in toward next weekend. Let's take a look at the latest maps here, and you're seeing the first of two rainy weather systems there. But this is how it's shaping up. We have a ridge of higher pressure building into the region. And this will continue to take a track across the region, the ridge crests on Monday, so some pretty good weather. And then we have the first of two rainy weather systems with a warm-up. You can see the rain moves in here. This is by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then beyond that, that moves on through fairly quick. And then here comes a little bit of a break in the action. And that's good for about maybe 12 hours, although it does mess it up on Wednesday. It looks like Wednesday, the arrival of the precipitation again on the front end. And this is going to be a little closer call for some mixed precipitation types. We'll have to watch. Warm air scoots north. The area of low pressure is hanging way back to the west. This is kind of an oddball here, but we're also looking at that possible gradient wind. And it continues to move across the region, and then it's out of here with just very benign light snow shower flurry activity. It may add up into some of our local mountaintops. This would be valid again, looks like Friday evening. Just looking at that. And then it continues to push off to the south, and by the time we get into, well, late in the period here on Sunday, things do dry out overnight, Saturday night into Sunday morning. With two rainstorms on the way, we're looking at 1.5 inches, generally centered a little bit more for eastern New England, up to 2-inch amounts in southern New England, about 1.5 to 1 inch here in general. GFS ensemble centered on Burlington, Vermont, shows cold enough to snow, and ahead of the next weather system, mostly a rain shower situation. This moves in on Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday morning, and there could be a little bit of a dicey situation in parts of southern Vermont, but I think most of the rest of Vermont's not going to be affected. But they're only giving it about 3/10 of an inch of total QPF here for the first round, and then a little bit of a break in the action, and you can see the second round. It's after the second round that it'll be cold enough to snow, according to the GFS ensemble. Climate reanalyzer showing current temperatures, and the coldest temperatures in the northern hemisphere is in Siberia, not in the Arctic Ocean, which is still well above normal. Also, the northern part of Greenland, it's good to see that they're holding the ice there, but it's absurdly warm. Take a look at the temperature anomaly. You can see what I'm saying. The Arctic Basin just continues to be very, very warm. Some of that does make it down in here, and otherwise we have these sort of warm-cold oscillations. A little colder weather in Alaska and points west. Some of the worst of the cold is in Siberia, of course, and it's been hitting places like northwest Alaska, which has been producing a tremendous amount of snow in some of those locations there. Sea surface temperatures as they actually are, but this is the anomaly, and this does kind of tease out the Pacific Decadal Oscillation in its positive phase. In terms of precipitation, lowest pressure, Gulf of Alaska remains to be the situation. Precipitable water, very, very dry. Surface winds, not especially that strong in most of North America. And then the jet stream winds, you can see coming over the top of a ridge out in the Pacific here. This develops a trough of low pressure. Some of this jet stream energy is going to go to the south of us, but eventually we're going to see colder temperatures working across the region. And taking a look at that, temperature anomalies over the next 5 days shows that it does get cold out west, running about 6 to 9 degrees above normal as we go into a warming spell here, or moderation in temperature, for the middle part of the week. About 3 days later, this is what it's looking like. Some of that penetrates off to the south of us. Still relatively warm across parts of Canada. Neutral just off the east coast, but still warm, 3 to 6 degrees in general above normal for this location. One of the tools we use for teleconnections is the Madden-Julian oscillation. This is looking at the GFS, and basically when we're in 8 and 1, 8 and 1 is real conducive to cyclogenesis off the eastern seaboard and affecting Vermont. This is the GFS. The European's a little bit different, showing that we do get into 1 here, but it's a few days off. 2 and 3 generally favor more benign weather, and that's kind of what we're experiencing. But note, in about 7 to 10 days, we could be back into storminess, and that's where we were last week. In terms of gradient winds, we'll have to watch with this next storm. Note here that the central Appalachians, really southeast U.S., really does see some pretty strong wind gusts. But as that moves further to the north, it weakens considerably, and we do get into some minor gradient wind issues here along the spine of the Green Mountains. We get into a break of the action that moves on by. That's mostly on Wednesday. Then Wednesday afternoon, night, overnight into Thursday, we see another shot of some minor gradient winds. These don't look to be too bad, although 12 hours earlier, they were a little more peppy, as you can see here. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.